Hello folks, welcome to the Liberty Garden. Today is May 24th and I am going to give you a brief update of what's going on in the garden. I went to my local nursery and they were having a sale for 75% on a lot of plants. So I got some peppers, these little bird peppers here, and I got some honeysuckle. These attract a lot of beneficial insects and hummingbirds. I also, well, while we're passing through here, here's the eggplant. It's putting on some blooms, and the cactus pad is already putting a few more pads. And on this side, I have the other plants that I acquired. I got 3 pink lemonade blueberries, if that makes any sense. What they are basically is a variety of blueberry that is more heat tolerant. So I'm going to plant those and see how they do. Here's the other little bird pepper that I got, and this is the type of blueberry which is called pink lemonade blueberry. And the other thing I got is this nice Bruce plum tree. It was on sale for $10, so we're trying to get rid of it. It was originally $39, but they were trying to get rid of it, so I picked it up. I already have a plum tree in the front, but it yields little, so I'm guessing that if I add a pollinator, it may improve its yield. I've noticed the apple tree has got quite a few of apples set, not many, but quite a few. But I'm also noticing that it's got some kind of blight. Everywhere where there was a fruit set, like here, sorry about that, the leaves are dying out and the fruits are kind of rotting away. See that? Or if you look at the top of this, you will see this here. See that? That apple is kind of dying away there. It's probably no good. Maybe it's a blight. I'm not sure what this is, but apples are proving to be a little more finicky than I thought. I take this piece of bad branch, remove it, and there's a lot of bad branches like that. I cut a bunch of them with the loppers off, but still, I noticed that a lot of them are happening where there are apples. I don't know much about apple trees, but it is something that's proved to be a little more work than is worth, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna move on, and I want to show you the potato patch. Oops. The air just knocked down the plum tree that I bought. Now here's a look at the potato patch from the back. As you can see, most of the potatoes are already falling over. I think they should be ready to harvest in about 10-15 days more. The onions are doing okay. I've been harvesting a couple of those from there, and I got some carrots right here. If you can see here, all the Swiss chard is just shooting up and putting out shoots with seeds, and most of the kale has also gone to seed by now. There you go. So I'll be collecting the seeds from these little pots when they dry up. I need to clean this up a little bit, but I don't have anything else right now to plant, so I'm just gonna let it go to seed. Here's the nectarine tree, and it's putting out some nice nectarines, but I think it got some there's a little moth called the Asian fruit moth, and it lays its eggs and they go into the fruit, and then there's a sappy residue that comes out of the fruit wherever the little larva goes in. So this is the first season of this tree. Maybe next season when it yields more, this may not be much of a problem. As of now, I don't know how many fruits are going to be good and how many are not going to be good, but the alternative that I have is to put some insecticides, and I don't want to do that. And here's the potato patch from the front. And we've been having a lot of rain, lots of rain, really. More rain than is desired. I'll take a semi-arid desert type of climate over a temperate, wet climate any day of the week for planting. Rain causes some things like this here. These potatoes are starting to have some blight issues. And too much humidity is not good for plants, really. Especially like plants like tomatoes and potatoes. And they just end up getting all kinds of funguses and blights. But the tomatoes seem to be doing okay. And if you recall, this bed was kind of empty, and now it's just filled up nicely because I got some tomatoes here, and well, it's just filling up nicely. There's some onions going to seed over there, and I have another tomato plant over here. Some considerations about design, folks, and I'm going to show you right now what I mean by that, is that when you design a garden, you need to take into consideration how much ventilation and how much shade that garden is going to be getting. For example, I'm going to slowly turn the camera so I don't get you all dizzy. If you see, all my trees are on that row. They're all lined up like that. Okay? So eventually, those trees are going to grow and they're going to start shading these beds that are right here. So these beds eventually are going to go away, or I'm going to shrink them, and I plan to open up this space here so that I can have more circulation through here, walk a little more with a little more, or walk a little easier through the garden without having to brush up against vegetation. And I'll probably make all these beds, put them up against the wall right here. Okay, but in the meantime, they're still getting a lot of sun, and it's good. These trees are not big enough. They're not that big, and they're fruit trees, so you can always prune them to any size you want. But just keep that in mind whenever you're planting a garden. Try to keep your trees where they don't shade out everything else, because then a tree is kind of something that you don't want to be cutting out just because it's shading out a bed or something. A bed is always easier to move away or shrink or make it bigger or change it to another place. But a tree, once you cut it, well, you gotta wait another 4 or 5 years to get another one to produce. Here's the Keyhole garden, guys, and this thing is just crazy. It's growing a lot. It's almost at full maturity now. Most of what's in here already had its seeds come out, like these pots here from the kale. I'll be collecting some of these. I have some squash here. I think these are calabacitas. And again, we've had a lot of rain, and some of them are just rotting down there. They're small, but I've noticed that a couple have just rotted with the humidity. So hopefully the sun's starting to come out. Hopefully it gets a little warmer, and when these problems go away. I haven't had to water the garden this year. That's how humid it's been. Anyway, let's move on here. Give you a little look of what the garden looks like. There you go. And here's a pear tree. Look at this tree. In comparison to the apple trees, this thing is loaded with little pears, and I just planted this tree last year. So evaluating plants that produce food, basically, those of you that are concerned with lights going out and stuff like that, well, you have a pear tree that calorically is more dense than an apple, and it gives you fruits without any problems. Well, at least until now. I like to see these things mature to tell you for sure. But it produces a lot, produces the first year. Then you have crops like Swiss chard, which are just hardy. This is the most pest-free plant I have in my garden, Swiss chard. And if you compare Swiss chard to spinach, for example, Swiss chard is more nutritious. Kale is also very nutritious. Kale and Swiss chard are probably the two most nutritious vegetables out there, or greens that you can eat. And they are very hardy, very resistant to anything. So you keep that in mind. And they grow easy also. Look, there's just so much of it here, I cannot even eat it. So you keep that in mind whenever you're designing a garden for that type of reasons. Let me show you real quick here how the Three Sisters garden is going. And this is just one sister so far because the corn stalks are taking their good old time to grow. we've had a lot of overcast days, so they're not very big. They're a foot big at most. And I planted these little beans on the side here about a month after I planted these beans, these corns. I realized that the beans are growing very, very fast, so I'm just gonna wait a little bit, maybe a week more before I plant my beans, because otherwise the beans are gonna get bigger and they're not gonna be able to get to trellis into weak little plants like the ones that you're looking at right now. So the idea of the 360 garden is for the beans to trellis up the corn stalks, and those corn stalks right now, as they are, they don't look like they can take much weight from anything. So I'm just going to wait a little bit longer. Anyway, folks, let me go through here, and I'm almost done. I'm going to go through this little path here very slowly because there's a lot of wasps roaming around, and I want to startle one into stinging me. Here's the patty squash. It's coming out nicely now, and the rosemary bush here, which is just huge. And that's about it, folks. Thanks for watching, and let me give you one last look of the Keyhole garden. Thanks for watching and stopping by, and until next time, have a good day.